Greetings and salutations, Gemini. Um, we're going to do something just a little different today. What I'm doing today is I'm pulling cards with the intentions of calling out issues of self-care. Okay. Very specifically to note how it affects the relationships in your life, because ultimately improving self will improve all relationships in your life, be it romantic or otherwise. So here we go. All right. So there's a blockage of your own creation here. Okay. There's a little bit of, I don't even want to call it self-sabotaging energy, because it's not that you're sabotaging the union or the relationship, but you're creating extra anxiety for yourself. Okay. And that's exactly what that is. You're creating extra anxiety for yourself where it doesn't actually belong. You are absolute in your decision, and you're very quick to overgive, right? So how do I put this feeling into words? It's like there are certain things that you've been through in the past, certain boundaries that you uphold, and then there are certain boundaries that you just let people run roughshod over, you know? So there are some absolutes. You know, in relationships there are some don'ts that you will not put up with. However, you don't have boundaries set up for all aspects. So you might be like, well, how do I put this? You might be quick to, trying to think of two really good examples here. All right, the obvious, cheating, right? Cheating is something you won't absolutely put up with. If you find out that you have already had a conversation with this person, that you guys are only seeing each other, and you find them on a dating app, you're going to be like, yeah, if that happens, I'm just not going to put up with it. But then there's this other thing, like, and this has to do with resources. So you're talking about health, wealth, and time, time management. It might be that you allow this person to take up all of your time, or you might overspend when you're out with this person, or this person might have, oh, you know what? That's it. We'll use something a little bit better because we're dealing in resources here. All right. So let's talk about mental health. Let's say that you're very, very adamant on mental health, right? And you say, if this person, when we're in public, talks down to me or pokes fun of me too much and has that like really sarcastic attitude, I am not going to put up with that. However, if we're out and about with this person and they want to, I need to be home at midnight because I have to go to bed because I have to work in the morning, and they want to stay out to 2 in the morning, I'm going to give in there. Do you see what I mean? You have certain things that you are dead absolute on, but you have other things that that person can talk you into or out of quite easily. And that's when we go back here. And then that's when you get upset. That's when you're like, oh, So you hold it in because you actually put the blame on yourself. Why did I let that person do that? Why did I let that person do that? Why did I let that person? However, that person will do it over and over. Like, why did I let them do that? But if they do this, I'm not going to stand for it. So ultimately, what you do is you set a certain amount of expectations, and then you allow them to push on other expectations. So you're always in a state of conflict, right? And that state of conflict that you have causes you to resolve within yourself, right? So you feel like because you're absolute in some of these things, that you're always going to be able to come out on top when there's some sort of argument. But then you give in and you put yourself back into this energy. So ultimately what I get here is you have boundaries and expectations in a relationship, and you've learned to communicate certain things, most likely based on your experience in the past. However, this particular person is always able to get their way with something else. And you see this as reciprocity, as give and take. Well, this person abides by these boundaries. So now maybe I should give in here, and maybe I should this, and maybe I should that. But ultimately, when they're taking up too much time, or they're taking up too much, or it costs too much, or this or that, who is honestly paying the price for that? You or the other person, right? So basically, what you need to do is you need to sit down and have open and honest conversations in regards to all of your boundaries in all aspects. But before you sit down and do that with a person and have that guessing game in front of the person, you need to sit down with yourself and make those hard deadline boundaries. If you have to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to work, or 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work, you need to say, if we're going to go out the night before, we can only go out till this time. You can't keep letting it push. If you have a set budget, if there are mental health issues, let's just say that this person does, maybe you're really good with your finance and you're really good with your schedule, but sometimes these remarks that people make really, really upset you, and you just kind of, oh, they didn't mean it, oh, passively, whatever. So you have to sit down with yourself first and decide what your expectations and boundaries are. Then you have to express those expectations and boundaries to the other person. This is the mistake that you keep having to learn over and over in every relationship. Because what happens is you hold on to these little things. Then over time, it turns into resentment. So over time, these are the things that could pull you apart, when if you had spoken up about them a little bit more early and a little bit more often, if you had had open and honest conversations, it could have been something that you guys worked through. So if you are triggered or upset by this particular reading, remember the purpose of it was to call out issues of self-care, so you can change things within yourself and be a better person to improve all relationships overall. So if you are triggered or upset by this reading, please feel free to vent your frustrations in the comments below, because I'll understand. It's not easy to do this kind of work on yourself. Trust me, I know it's not fun. I'd rather you vent those frustrations out on me, a stranger who kind of gets it and who kind of understands, than to vent these frustrations out on a loved one. So I hope you found a message that serves your highest good, and I will see you guys next time.